Hello everybody, this is Jeff, the Hawaiian Volcanic. Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. So today's project, I will be replacing the internals in my thermal bypass valve to lower my transmission temperatures. So today I'll be using parts from Superior Solutions, and what this is the internals that will be replacing the stock ones in my thermal bypass valve. Right out of the box you get a clear set of instructions. This is probably one of the better sets of instructions I've seen in a long time. Kind of gives you an exploded view of what it looks like when you're putting it together, and step-by-step instructions on how to take it apart, install the new parts, and some precautionary stuff. You're also going to need a new seal. This is a genuine GM part. Looks like that. Now what comes in the box are new internals. Brand new pistons. And then you have 3 O-rings. 2 O-rings right there. The other O-ring here is kind of trapped in between the spring right here. You got a new spring, and you're also adding a ball bearing. The original thermal bypass valve does not have a ball bearing, so this is an addition here. And what this does, it allows the new internals to still operate as a bypass valve. So you still get the functionality with this ball bearing and new spring. So there are a few options out there to help you reduce your temperature in your transmission, and this is probably one of the better options out there, because what you're doing is you're replacing engineered parts from Superior Solutions to fit into the stock housing, the stock thermal bypass valve, and then pretty much it just mounts just like stock. There shouldn't be any fitment issues or anything, because you're not really doing any kind of modification on the outside. It's just a stock part that'll made up to the transmission, and you just kind of mount it on there, bolt everything down, and you're good to go. Now the other options that are out there is installing a transmission cooler. Now that option can be anywhere from $150 to $400 for a good transmission cooler. A little bit more labor intensive, because you're going to need to take off the grill, the headlights, pretty much the whole front, to be able to get access to install the cooler lines, and then the radiator itself. And you know, that's a pretty big project. Another option is what they're calling flipping the pill. So what that is taking your stock thermal bypass valve and pulling out this piston here and flipping it upside down and reinstalling everything in the original order, and just bolting it back up. The problem with that is that you kind of take away the functionality of the bypass, and what that means is that the thermal bypass valve is essentially a thermostat. So when you take away that functionality, then your fluid will just flow through freely. Now that might not be a bad thing if you're in a climate where you don't get into freezing temperatures. Your transmission does have to warm up. The fluid has to warm up in order for the transmission parts to function properly. Maybe a problem if you're living out like in Minnesota, Illinois, or any of those states that experience -20 below zero type temps. Then you might have some problems with your transmission shifting properly or working properly. So the Superior Solutions is probably the best option out there, I feel, and just based off of the reviews and the people that have installed this kit, they have nothing bad to say about it, saying that it does lower transmission temps up to 20, 30, even 40 degrees. Currently, right now, the stock thermal bypass valve will operate at 194 degrees. So if you're driving around in town for an hour or so and you check your temps, 195 is absolutely normal because the valve operates at 194. Now, if you're in colder temps, right? Sometimes, like in the wintertime here in Arizona, it could get, like in the 40s and 50s. The temperature will be around 160, which is great. It needs to be, because I mean, there is a nominal operating temperature to keep the transmission fluid from, for lack of a better word, freezing, thickening up. It stays fluid enough to where it will cycle through the transmission in all its parts so that it can operate and shift properly. And finally, the last option, which I think is the most sketchiest option, is drilling a hole and tapping a hole and just sticking a bolt in there and just thread it in there, and totally eliminating the bypass function. Again, kind of like the flipping the pill option, but I think that final option is probably the worst thing you could probably do to your thermal bypass valve. So what I'm going to do is go underneath the truck really quick and show you where the location is and what things you need to do to get the thermal bypass valve removed. So the bypass valve is on the driver's side, and if you look over where your oil filter is at, it's about a foot behind, mounted right by the front end of the bell housing there. There are two bolts that have to be removed. This one here, I believe, is 10 millimeter, and this one here, I think, is like a 13 or a half inch. So I'll get the information there posted onto the video as we go through the breakdown here, and then we pull out the cooler lines. Now, some different model year Silverados might not have this type of fastener. In some earlier models, they actually have this plastic ring that is held with clips right here. So this is a 2015 Silverado LT, and it has this type of mounting clamp, where some years they have this round type of fastener that is held together with like a spring clip that just clips on like that. So don't be alarmed if you're looking at this video and be like, wait a minute, mine's mounted differently. But they are pretty much the same thing as far as how the transmission lines are connected and how you take it out. So I mean, you remove this piece here and you literally just pop out the lines. You're gonna need to remove one of the brackets here. Let me show you what bracket that is. It's this bracket right there. You just kind of pop that off so that these lines here can move freely, because you're going to need to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room. And by taking down that, by just popping out that bracket, it gives you that flexibility to be able to do that. And then once that's popped out, just remove that bolt, and then the thermal bypass just pops right out. Installation should take no more than 45 minutes at the most. Just a couple of notes. Just be sure that you account for the O-rings that are attached to the transmission lines. Now, each line has an O-ring, so make sure those are on there. Sometimes they stick to the thermal bypass valve. So just make sure you account for those, because you're going to reuse those. And as far as the assembly is concerned, you're going to need to put a little bit of lube on there. So you could use some transmission fluid just to lube the O-rings and stuff like that, so it'll slide in seamlessly. Or you could use assembly lube. I'm going to use assembly lube, and that's not going to be harmful to the transmission at all. So just a couple of things to keep in mind as you're putting everything together. So with that said, let's start mechanicking. Well, gang, it's as simple as that. The Superior Solutions kit was really easy to install. It came with some detailed instructions. I mean, it's so easy to follow that even a beginner could do this project. Now, I'm going to do a review after a few driving cycles, just to kind of give you guys an update on where the temperature is kind of sitting at. And yeah, I've got a few more projects that are coming up here. And if you guys haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe. If you guys have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. I'll have a list of everything that I used today, so you guys don't have to scour the internet for the parts or anything like that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. It's your Hawaiian Mechanic. Aloha.